Right across from the Bank of America.
Thank you very much. It's about 3 blocks away?
No, about half a block. It's not that much farther.
Okay, thanks.
Do you ask anybody when you tape them?
Once in a while. Like when I was going to the military ball, I asked people in the car because it's hard for them to get away from it.
Now, what happened? Some military face broke your camera?
Well, you know what? When I got home and Tyler checked it out, you know?
Yeah.
And he found this thing that was attached to the wire. It's like a metallic object that you're not supposed to have on it, or else it will, it does something, I forget.
Yes. I was going to stay at that hotel.
But you're just really into French stuff, aren't you?
Well, no, it was a good hotel. And it's right across from Sotheby's. Which isn't here.
Which isn't here.
But it's right up here.
Yeah, where this crowd is. So does it seem strange to you to meet somebody over the internet?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah, extremely strange. It's fascinating.
Okay, so here we are.
This of course, is the only time. I don't go around doing this.
All the time?
Going here or in here.
Can you film us? We'll do something really, really obnoxious.
All right, great. Woo.
I don't know. I don't see anybody taking names, but just a second.
Yeah, only if there's money to gain.
What?
Just kidding. Go ahead. What?
Is yeah, you know, my teaching. Thank you. My teaching started when I was 39 years old.
And you'd already been in the military, right?
I was in the Air Force, and I got out when I was 26. And I went to college. And I think I went to 9 different colleges. And I finally got a bachelor's degree and a master's degree from an engineering institution. And I was working on my doctorate in physics when Kent State happened. You know about Kent State?
Yeah.
They shot students on the campus, 3 students, a National Guard.
Riot, yeah.
Yeah. And then for the next 10 years, I was a vagabond.
That was the deciding moment, the Kent State?
Yeah.
Riots.
Yeah, even our school closed down. I mean, we had our professors that helped close down the school. And, well, I drifted. I joined YOF, Youth Against War and Fascism, which turned out to be a front organization for the Workers' World Party, Trotskyist organization.
Was it?
I'm supposed to be listening to you.
I told you a bunch of stuff already.
Yeah.
And take turns, right?
I wound up in Madison, Wisconsin. I registered for a couple of courses and was an outside agitator. And the red light's blinking.
Or you can actually see yourself.
Cool. Oh, yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, I think the other one does that too.
Yeah. Well, anyway. Madison was neat because we were really there for a trial. A trial of 3 National Guardsmen who blew up a National Guard post. They were guilty as sin. You know, we were running around the courthouse and in my car with a big speaker on top of it saying the Camp McCoy 3 must be set free. It's a crazy thing. But Madison's a wild town.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
White rabbit.
And Austin, Texas. I wound up in Indianapolis, and I wound up going to school at, I wound up going to law school at University of Indiana in Bloomington. And then I dropped out of there.
What kind of law were you studying?
Well, I studied constitutional law and contracts. I really wanted to go into, ACLU type stuff, free speech stuff. But the trouble was everybody else there wanted to be a corporate attorney and make a lot of money, and I didn't make any friends. And that's the first time I had, those episodes. I give up on this too. That's the first time I had.
You're
to...
supposed to eat that wax wrapper.
Oh yeah? I'll try it. I wound up in the hospital there. And,
From what? From a fight?
No. It's another time of sadness. I was lonely and attempted suicide. And I turn on all the gas, and didn't light it, and opened the oven and turned that on, and went to bed and listened to records and smoked cigarettes, lit cigarettes. Woke up the next morning, gas was still on, and I was dizzy as hell.
And then you turned it off?
Yeah.
So, how many times have you tried?
There were 4 times that were stage 8 or 9.
Do you want me to turn this off?
No, I don't mind. I believe in suicide. I think it's painless, and someday, I don't want to be a cripple, and I don't want to be on a life support machine or anything like that.
Yeah, Jackie Kennedy, or whatever, Kennedy Onassis, she pulled the plug on herself when she had thyroid cancer.
Mm-hmm.
She did euthanasia. I mean, well, I don't see why it's such a big deal. People want to make that decision themselves. Why should they be able to?
Is that euthanasia when you turn off the life support
on
machines?
yourself?
Mm-hmm.
No, I guess euthanasia is usually maybe when the doctor does it for you or something.
I wish we had compassionate doctors that would shoot me full of something, when I'm terminal.
When you're in a lot of pain or something, right?
Yeah, I'm not in any pain now. As a matter of fact, I'm very content. I'm very happy. I don't know if happy is the word, but I'm extremely excited and looking forward to this trip. A foursome, especially that. It would have been. It probably would have been not very bearable if it were just you and I.
Why? It's too much. It's too
Well,
much.
we'd feel that we'd have to entertain each other all the time.
Yeah, there are other entertainers.
I don't know if you could stand me for that long a period of time.
I think I prefer to have a crowd of people around me than be one-on-one.
Mm-hmm.
So I can kind of retire if I feel like it, or
That was good.
interact if I feel like it.
Yeah. In the I'm sorry I was so hesitant in the beginning. I just didn't understand what was happening.
Well, I think you're a real, champion for
But no, I recognize.
for doing this in the first place.
I'm doing. These are some of the things that I couldn't do when I was young. Even though I was in the Air Force, and I did you know, meet local people. And I did try to be local. But, you know, I was always the American, and I didn't have the opportunity to just do what we're going to do.
Let's travel around and see some culture.
Whatever.
Yeah, I did a whirlwind tour of Eastern Europe once, and counted how many capitals I'd seen in a month, and it was like 19.
Eastern Europe?
Eastern Europe, and I did, went down to Turkey,
Wow.
went to Istanbul. Istanbul is great. It's one of my favorite places I've ever been.
Oh, yeah?
You can go to,
What are the capitals?
you know, I was in
Did you get to
Budapest.
Moscow? Oh, you in
That was
Budapest?
2 years ago I went to Moscow.
You did?
That was my circumnavigation tour.
My goodness.
What is it? What's that?
Did you get to
Explorer
St.
Henry?
Petersburg?
Yeah, I went from Stockholm to Helsinki, and then took a train down to St. Petersburg.
I'd love to go to St. Petersburg.
I actually liked Moscow a lot better. People told me they thought St. Petersburg was prettier and there was a lot of things, but
I interrupted you. You were going to say something about a square in Moscow?
square.
I'm
in
sorry.
Moscow.
I thought you were.
No, I said 2 years ago.
Yeah, okay.
What's that explorer's name who did supposedly the first circumnavigation? Henry?
Isn't that Magellan?
Yeah, I think it was Magellan. Yeah.
And the
I
second?
did my Henry Magellan tour
Ah,
2 years ago. Because I went to...
Henry Magellan?
Isn't it Henry Magellan?
I don't know.
I think it is, yeah. Anyway, so I'd gone to Sweden, right? So
Je sais pas.
that was a start. And so I took, from Moscow, I took a plane. I wanted to do the Trans-Siberian tour, but I calculated that I was going to run out of money right around Hong Kong if I did that. And plus, my visa, I should have gotten a visa for a longer period of time because the visa would have run out halfway through the Trans-Siberian, and they can just throw you out of the train if your visa runs out. So I flew back.
Wind up in the...
Actually, I missed my plane. And then I had to take another one.
You missed your plane out of
I missed
Moscow?
my plane from Moscow to San Francisco. So I had to pay like something like $400 or $500 to get another plane, and it was to LA because they only have flights maybe once or twice a week to
Wow.
San Francisco.
Wow, it's a wonderful life.
Yeah, it was pretty groovy, man, but it wasn't as groovy as taking the Siberian was, assuredly.
Sure.
But I'll just do that some other time.
Yeah. No, that thing is on.
Still on?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. What else? What other questions should I ask you?
I wound up in Atlanta, and I was helping veterans who had undesirable discharges. And then the VA started doing it, and the military started upgrading them automatically because most of them were, silly discharges. But it denied them benefits from the VA. So when the VA and the military started doing it, I called up Georgia State and told them, somebody said I'd make a good teacher. So in a year, I took a bunch of education courses, and through an alternative program, I became a teacher and taught high school physics, high school science for 10 years in the Golden Ghetto, Cobb County, Georgia.
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 Did they make fun of you because of your New York accent?
I don't know if I still had it there. Yeah.
How come you don't have a Georgia accent now?
I'm sorry. I don't. I don't.
Georgia.
Sometime I want to tell you about I'm a kind of a romantic, a sentimentalist and everything, and I love falling in love. And one of my high school students called me up and wanted my advice about something, and we started corresponding and everything, and then I took her to dinner when I had a meeting in Washington. She was in Delaware. And just something happened. I just fell in love with her, and we just had a nice time.
And you just had a nice time?
Yeah, she was,
Was she was in college by then, or what?
Well, yeah, it's a long story, but if we go back to high school, she was a star pupil, which means she had the highest GPA and SAT combined.
All right.
So she gets to pick her star teacher, the teacher who influenced her the most, and she picked me. So that meant we had to go to rubber chicken dinner, and I met her parents, and all that good stuff. And then she came to my house and had dinner, and we got to know each other fairly well. She wanted to go to the U.S. Naval Academy and become a naval officer. So I wrote her a letter. And then she got there over the summer, which was boot camp. She wanted out. And
Why?
What?
Why?
It was just too hard on her. It was too physically demanding for her, I think. She's a frail person. And I tried to advise her out of going to the military academy because boot camp is,
And she wasn't much of a sporty person?
No, she was thin.
A waif?
Thin, a waif, that's a good word for her. So, I knew how to get people out of the military because I'd been doing that for 10 years when I was a vagabond, and helping people out. And we got a congressman to get her out, and she got out, within 48 hours.
Honor roll?
Nothing. I mean, she just never was in, is what it's like. It's, it's as if her enlistment was voided,
Huh.
Happened to my son, too. Stupid son. He got down.
Check that out?
He joined the Navy and he got down to boot camp, and the second day he was there, this big sergeant, yells at him and says, listen, if any of you guys ever had any drugs and you lied about it on your enlistment form, we're going to find out about it. And, we're going to put you in jail, throw away the key, lock it up. So if anybody has used any drugs and lied on their enlistment form, you better come forward. So he came forward, and they voided his enlistment.
Wow.
He was stupid because, they weren't going to do anything, and all he did was smoke pot.
And they voided his enlistment for that?
Yep.
The jerks. Yeah, when I...
Yeah, that's all right.
I won't go into that story.
What's
On film, on tape.
Well, cut it off.